Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Girl Get Up podcast with your host, the Aquarian Chancellor, where I personally share my story, my ups and downs, good, the bad, the ugly, in hopes that it inspires you to go out and discover your infinite possibilities, discover your infinite potential. Before we get into today's show, which is Sisterhood and Female Friendships Building Lifelong Bonds, with my special guest, Miss Lisa, also co-host of the Sister Circle platform, which we are dear friends of. I want to run down just a little bit of house cleaning, a little bit of action items before we get started. As you all know, I am the creator of the Infinite Dreamers program, the career curriculum for youth designed for youth ages 16 to 25. I created the Career Strategies for Success guidebook along with the Career Strategies for the Infinite Dreamer. Together, they are the foundation of the program, the Infinite Dreamers program. I also have the accountability journal, or excuse me, the planner, the Girl Get Up planner, the accountability planner, excuse
Mm.
me, for the creative woman. So if you are interested in those products, any of the services, you go down in the description, okay? And you can also go to my website, www.yourinfinitedirection.com. I also have the Daily Dose of Inspiration deck and the Career Affirmations deck. Those are the personal development tools that I also have. So if you're interested in any of those things, any of my products, any of my services, go over to the website. Go over to the website where I help you go out, do your work, and discover your infinite possibilities. So that's enough about me. Let's get into today's topic with a someone I have had a very long-standing relationship with. So I thought that when we're talking about building lifelong bonds, why not ask people we've had lifelong relationships with, right? It's the only thing that makes sense. So I'm sharing my platform with Miss Lisa Striggles of Ask Miss Lisa. Okay, she's been my business mentor and a support system for me along this journey of personal and professional development. So I'm going to give up the floor and allow for her to introduce herself and tell us who she is, what she got, what she do.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. As Chauncey has said, my name is Lisa Striggles, and I own a few businesses. First, coaching business, Ask Miss Lisa, and I also own and run a administrative support services business, Striggles and Company. And we're talking about sisterhood. Miss Chauncey, the chancellor. I have known her, oh my God, since what, 2008, talking about long lasting sisterhood friendships.
It was, I want to
Was it
say
2008?
no, it was longer than that.
It
You
was
know how
long.
I know? Because you remember when we was over at the place, I don't know if we can say names, so I'm not gonna
Yes,
say. But
right.
you remember when we was over at the place? I had graduated high school 2020, 20, goodness gracious, 2002, right? I think I ended up over there by the maybe like end of 2003, mid somewhere around there. So it must have
Wow.
been 2003 into 2004, something like that.
So that was even longer than I. Oh my good.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
been a
See,
while because my oldest, he 20,
almost. We talking about 20 years.
23. Yeah. It's
20
been a long
years of
time.
friendship. I mean, and that's the way it goes for me. Most of the people that I am friends with, I have at a minimum, mostly at a minimum 20 years. Most of the people who are the sisters in my life, we've been friends. I just celebrated a birthday this week.
Hey,
Yay. And I turned 58. I'm not ashamed to say it, and I'm so
that's
proud.
happy.
And 58, so happy to be here, to
Mhm,
still be here to celebrate. But
mhm,
yes, I have friends. Have friends that I've had since I was like in the 7th grade. I think that's the youngest female friend, 7th grade. And
Wow.
not just one, like a lot of, I mean, and then people that I know, but I have really close friends. So I don't have a whole lot of associates. I have people that I know, but I have a lot of really close friends, like people who, if I called them at 2 o'clock in the morning, they would find a way to get to me. And that's what I consider a true sister friend. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And they know, I can't drive now, but they know I would get to them if I if I had to wake somebody up to get there. So those are the kinds of friendships that I have fostered in my life, and I am so grateful.
I
What?
was going to ask you because I was going to say because before we talked, we was like, okay, I was going to ask you this, but you just said something. I think that'd be the perfect place to start. When you talk about friendships over your 58 years of experience in building long-lasting bonds, what do you look for in a friend?
Mm, I think for me, it's really someone who I feel like I can trust with anything. Trust is the major thing. And then that trust comes from communication. I mean, and
Mhm.
it sounds so cliche, but every relationship is based on trust and communication.
Yeah.
I have friends that I have, let's say, quote unquote, fallen out with because over time, some people do drop off. Like I have friends that I grew and they didn't grow, or we grew in two different directions. And that happens, but for me, that's it. So I don't know if you know about the love languages. And so for me, my love language is acts of service. So if I know that I get in a tough time and I have somebody that I can call on, that's the person that I truly call my friend.
Mm.
I know other people are just people I know. But when I was thinking about this topic, it's like the energy that you put out, I think, as a person is the same kind of energy that you draw to yourself, because most of my friends are, well, let's say, like-minded. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because a lot of women say, "Oh, I don't mess with women like that. I don't have friends like that." But in my experience, I am not drawn to people who aren't drawn to people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You know what? No, that's kind of funny because for me it's been kind of weird because I would like to consider myself like if I go out, like I meet a lot of different people, but I still it's like I feel most comfortable when I can kind of like move around, but they have a level of independence within my friendships. So that
Hmm.
said, just like even with me and you, we don't talk every day, but when we talk,
Oh yes.
So for me, I think that trust definitely is a big for me because I am very open. I
And
talk
so
about a lot of stuff, and it's because I feel comfortable and I like to share my story. I like to meet
yeah.
people, and I think that's a great bonding aspect too. But
Hmm.
trust and communication, being open, and the energy, like you said too, is like if I
Yeah.
feel a good energy and I can open up,
Yeah.
so and we build friendships from there. So how do you still keep that same rubric system, I so to speak, in business? How do you operate friendship in business?
Yes, because for most of us, we spend more time at work than we do
That's a
with
fact.
our families. I mean, that's real talk. So, especially now, I am, like I said, I am growing my own business, and I have been a life coach for years. Finally starting to get my certification and everything, but I personally am at a place in my life where I will only work with people who I'm drawn to or who are drawn to me. I mean, but that is, that is a luxury, I guess. But not really. If we think about it, you don't want to go and work in a place where you hate going every day. The people you feel like are backbiting. Um,
Mhm.
I think there are a million jobs out there, and I will only put myself in positive situations. I mean, that's it. That's me across the board. That's where I am in life, and it hasn't always been this way. Like I said, I'm 58 years old, but now, and if I could save some people a few steps, life is too hard to be around people that you don't truly enjoy being around.
Yeah.
Period. That whether that's work, play, friendships, relation, no matter what. There
Mhm.
are there are a lot of people in the world. So I think it's a waste of good energy to spend time doing anything that doesn't bring you joy.
Yeah. So I guess now would be a perfect time. Let's talk about your journey from work and opening up and your own business and functioning as a business owner.
Hmm. So yeah, so for most of my career, I worked in law firms, and I really enjoy doing that work. Because I'm like a crusader for truth and justice. I think I just
Social
realized that. I just realized that about myself. So even I did in my work life and in my personal life, it's like I really just want to help people. I want the good guy to win. Period.
Mm,
And that's just across the board. That's just who I am. And so in my coaching business, that is something that so I just went out on faith. And the first time when I started my business, I just went to my boss and I said, the Lord is calling me to do something else. And I don't know what it is yet, but when I find out, I'll let you know. And
mm,
I gave a 30 days notice because I wanted to make sure I had at least enough money where I would be able to pay my bills and everything for a month. Because I knew it wasn't going to take longer than a month for me to figure out whatever it was for at that time for me to bring the money in. And so that's what I did. I started my first business was a business called All Things to All People. And I really enjoyed, like I said, working with people and helping people. So I started that business, and I said we did everything in that business. We cut grass, we walked dogs, we cleaned,
mm.
we did because I wanted to be able to hire people and work with people and train people no matter what the skill level. And so I worked that business, I guess, from I'm gonna say 2003 to 2005. No, was it? No, it was actually 2008, and then that's when the crash came, I think, and then I went back to work because it's like, okay, people weren't able to pay for those extra services that we were providing. So that was a tough time. So then I went back to work, and I went back to a law firm, and but if you keep a good reputation, you're a good hard worker. Now I've been every job I went on, I was able to go back. So I went to the
Mm.
same job back like two or three times because, like you said, if you keep the relationships good and you are a stand-up person and people like you and you come to work on time, you do what you're supposed to do, people are always happy to see you come back. You want to make sure anytime you leave, people sad to see you go. You
Yeah.
okay? That's with anything. That is with anything. But then I went back, and like I said, then times got a little better, and I went out on my own again. And then unfortunately, I faced a little bit of sickness a couple of years ago, and I wasn't able to work at all. So that was back in 2000 or 2001. So now I'm just getting back to the place where I'm starting to build my business again. And
Mm,
I was I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I mean, I started my first business when I was in the third grade. So I feel most comfortable when I'm working for myself and helping other people. But in that, there are a lot of sacrifices, and you
yeah.
have to be willing to, and you have to understand the sacrifices that come along with being an entrepreneur, starting back up, because I mean those are just the realities of the situation. But I really enjoy working for myself. I
Mm,
really do. But what I do in my business is really twofold. I provide administrative services for other small business owners. So people who need administrative support, they need websites, they need YouTube channels, but they are not in a place where they can afford to hire admin staff full time. So that is, and I love it. I say, I love what I do. I love my life. I love the people in my life, and I love the work that I do.
yeah. It affords you the opportunity to work and do things at your own pace, at your own time. So you mentioned you had some a setback, in your health is was concerned. How important was friendships and those bonds that you've built over those years since the seventh grade?
I'm gonna be quite honest with you. That is when you get sick to the place where I got sick. I was diagnosed with cancer, and the type of cancer that I was diagnosed with, it was completely debilitating because the cancer was dissolving my bones. So I was in excruciating pain. At one point in my illness, I wasn't even able to hold a coffee cup.
Mm.
So I wasn't able to work. I wasn't able to. So my friends really, you and all of my other friends, I mean, help. I'm gonna say they say in the Bible, stood in the gap and really helped me make it through to the other side. If it wasn't for my friends, first of all, I wanted to give up, and
Mhm.
I say it all the time because it's the truth. I only know how to be straightforward. I asked the Lord to bring me home. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too painful, and I don't want to do it. But then I would talk to my friends, and they were like, "Girl, are you a punk? What? This is not the Lisa that I know. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna let you give up." And just having people like that in your corner is priceless.
Did you feel like they didn't understand, like when you was at that moment? Because I can just imagine being in so much pain that you can't even put words to it. Did you feel like they didn't understand? Because sometimes when we going through something, right, we can feel like we're the only person in the world. Did you feel like they genuinely understood you?
Yes, especially with my friends
Okay.
because we communicate all the time. So it wasn't like they didn't understand. They
Mhm.
understood. They perfectly understood what I was going through, but they were like, I understand you're going through that, but if you need some strength, you can lean on me. But what I'm not going to let you do is give up. Period.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm not going to let you give up. So I mean, I have friends that came to visit me in the hospital, bought me food, paid my bills. I'm talking about real, true friends.
Those acts of service that you talk
Act-
about.
That's it.
Mhm.
That is
Mm.
it. Just, I mean, just getting checks in the mail. And it's like, oh, thank God. Because for 6 months, that's another thing. When they tell you to make sure you have at least 6 months worth of money put aside, for 6 months, I didn't have a check. So I was without income, zero to zero for 6 months. So yeah, and just having friends to say, they didn't even, Lisa, what do you need? Some of them said, what do you need? Most of them just put checks in the mail, drop food to my house, whatever. I didn't even have to ask.
Wow.
And that is a blessing because what do they say? Birds of a feather flock together.
That's
So that
right.
just let me know that that is the kind of friend that I am to other people. And that really did make me feel good. So for people, when people say, "Oh, I don't mess with women like that," to that I say sometimes we have to take a look in the mirror
Mm-hmm.
because that is never my experience. So I don't know if my energy doesn't draw those kind of people in, but that's never my experience and I'm in a lot of different circles.
Yeah. Well, that's why we say life is the healing journey. Life is definitely the healing journey.
Amen.
Woo. Okay, so we're coming up on our half hour mark. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in to part one of Sisterhood and Female Friendships, Building Lifelong Bonds here on the Girl Get Up podcast. Okay, hang on with us for part two, which you guys we pick up in here next week. But before I let you guys go, again, I have created the Infinite Dreamers program based off the Career Strategies for Success guidebook and the Career Strategies for Success with the Infinite Dreamer. Together, they are the foundation of the Infinite Dreamers program. I also got the Girl Get Accountability planner for the creative woman. Oh my goodness, it's just I'm tongue tied today. I'm tongue tied today, but that's okay. You all know if you are interested in any of my products and my services, go to my website, www.yourinfinitedirection.com. You can also email me with any requests. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, Jones at Your Infinite Drink Direction, let me start over. Jones at yourinfinitedirection.com. And with that, we will see you next week where we'll be picking up again with Miss Lisa, and you're going to finish hearing her story of building lifelong friendships and sisterhood and how important it was for her journey. So with that, take care, everybody, and have a good evening.
Good evening. Have a good evening.